Drums in my heart are drumming, I hear the bagpipes humming, my bonny laddie's coming over the sea. My heart within his bringing, I hear the bluebells ringing, soon we'll be highland flinging, my love and me. Somewhere a ship and crew sails o'er the ocean blue, bringing, oh, bringing my bonny back to me. That's why the drums are drumming, that's why the pipes are humming, my bonny laddie's coming over the sea.
She never came to the school.
Oh, I see.
Marry into it.
Oh,
Do you like
I see.
a thing?
Okay.
Janet?
Put a blue on that one.
Jan, just Jan. Thank you. Right, Goldsworthy.
Good afternoon. Dennis Arms it is, ARMS. Good, thank you. Lovely, thank you then.
So much. Were you on the chart so much?
Yeah, well, it's yours now. We've given them to you. Thank you, John. Beautiful.
I used to be.
So, how long ago did you come to school here?
Actually, my daughter did here, and my older daughter.
And how did you hear about the reunion?
I got a letter in the mail. And we live just next door.
I hated school
Why?
when I was here, but all I remember are good memories.
Street.
That's right.
You're not a brother of Bob Williams, are you?
Yes, I was there in round about 28, 29. I'm not sure which year I started, and I left in 38. Like most schools, I dare say, we rebelled against, or I did, I rebelled against coming to school. I didn't like school, but I had to come. As far as the school went, well, it seems very changed. I haven't had time to go through the school as yet. I'm about to do that, but I think there's a roll call or something.
The people to my left there, those grade 6 boys from 1940s, if you don't stop chatting, you'll go to the headmaster's office for 6 of the best. Welcome back to 113. I'm Nola Wilson, and to many of you, Nola Speakman, and I'm so glad that we found you, or that you found us, and came to the reunion today. We're delighted that you are one of the 600 and more, I would say, here today.
Right, originally it was a private school. It was known as Cambridge Private School. It was situated in Blackshaw's Road on an area that was known as Cambridge's Paddock. And it was set up there, and so it was called Cambridge Private School because that's where it was set up. Then it was moved at various times to the corner of Tate Street in Newport, and then out on, further out I think towards Blackshaw's Road for a very short time. And then it came to be in Melbourne Road at the crossing there near the flour mills. Well, Corey was a headmaster at Hawthorn first in the 1860s, very early 1860s. And then he got into the national system, and he came to take over the Newport school in 1860 something, I think. And then as his children matured, he had his wife as the sewing mistress, he had his daughter as a student teacher, and then when the next one came of age, she became a student teacher. So it was always known as, after that, as Corrie's School, because they were the whole staff. And he was the headmaster at the school in Melbourne Road.
Walter David Payne. They call me Watty for short, for nickname. And I started the Newport State School, 113, in 1925, 80 years ago.
Tom Wiggins. I started in 1935.
Yeah, past students.
Her in the 30s and me in the 40s.
Annette Thompson, 1954 to 59.
Helen Nettleton, 54 to 59.
When I was here, Caroline Gold, 54 to 59.
I was about 1950.
That'll do.
For 6 years. 56.
Diane Fogarty, 54 to 59.
Raylene Cartledge, 58 to 59.
20s depression meant that quite a number of teachers also were expected to do far more, and far more students were appointed, and they worked longer in the schools before they got to Teachers College so that they could cover the loss. During the Depression, I mean, things were really tough for people. You see the photos of the school children. You know, you'd have a pullover that was knitted from somebody else's pullover that had worn out, and the mother would unpick it and wash it and hang it up in skeins and then re-knit it. And children had no socks. Some children, of course, were very well dressed, and you can see that in the school photos of the time. We had an air raid shelter. We used to have a basketball court in Home Road, and the council dug an air raid shelter there. My parents had an air raid shelter under their house. My father, having been a mining engineer, we had a shaft and a pump to pump the water out, and it was all set up beautifully, ours was. But all the children in this school, because it was thought we might be bombed because of all the oil around, and the railways and the shipping and all that sort of thing. We all had to have a haversack, and it had to be survival things and a change of underwear and a little housewife kit so you could sew your own buttons on and things like that, so that you could be an independent child and not be a nuisance wherever you were sent. And every now and then we used to parade and have our knapsacks inspected to see that they were complete, and we were told that at any time we could be just not go home, but just get on a train and be sent somewhere.
He was Mr. Caulfield, but we used to call him Parrot Nose because he had a big nose.
Granny Seaver.
Oh, grade 3 she was.
Grade 3 was it?
Oh,
yes. But really, and she was an art teacher, very interested in all sorts of art, and my mother couldn't keep me in raffia.
Well, Miss Vincent was probably the longest lasting teacher who had the most influence on Newport School, because she was musical, she loved poetry, she was a very stern teacher.
We're not going to take this and have it spoiled with somebody in the front row. What's wrong with you?
We had school choirs, and our choirs nearly always won because they were schooled up to be absolutely perfect. And a lot of them had really good voices too, I must add. And she was my teacher in grade 3. She was very hard on me. She gave me the strap once. I was supposed to be talking and I wasn't. And I made the decision I would be a teacher and smack Miss Vincent's kids. As I got older, of course, it was a silly idea to think of, but and of course she didn't marry. But when I came back as a student teacher, she was the first one to greet me.
Miss Lang was a shocking teacher. Miss Mackenzie was a lovely teacher in grade 2. Mr Lewis, Miss Rule, Miss Severs.
Granny Severs.
Yeah, I said that one too. Yeah.
Miss Wadsley, Mr Caulfield,
yeah.
Piggy Johns, the headmaster. I always remember once it really was in that first year at school, and something happened. I must have misbehaved, and I think I might have had to stand in the corner or something like that. But I went home and told my parents and my grandfather, and he came up as a joke. He came up the next. He lived just close to us with a big rope, so that we were going to trip Miss Cronin on the way to school.
Oh, Colonel Whitten.
Colonel
Whitten. I told you was strict.
Yeah.
That's me a few times.
Oh, Miss Shue. Miss Shue, yes. Mr Vincent as well. Miss Vincent. Yeah, Miss Vincent.
Did we like them or were we scared of them?
Miss Shue was scared stiff. She used to lock us in the cupboard and put paper clips on your legs. Oh, no.
I interviewed Miss Box in her 90s. I spent quite some time with her talking to her about her background. A lovely lady, and she never married, and so she was the custodian of the family's heirlooms, and she had her own school books from when she was in the 1890s, when she was learning reading, and she had these various readers, and they were on display in the 125th.
I'm sitting here looking at the students in front of me, Some of them are quite young and they're in the school now, and some of them have been around just a year or two longer. And I'm just wondering what's going through your minds at the moment. Been checking some records. There's a young boy over sitting here in the second row. I wonder if you can stay behind after this assembly and help me with an investigation about the chewing gum that was stuck under the seat in 1947. You may be able to assist. Anyone can help me with that? I think it would be fascinating to listen to the stories. I wish walls in schools could talk, because I'm sure they would tell us some fabulous stories about the learning and the fun and the experiences that went on.
Yeah, we'd have to fill the ink wells up and things like that, or clean the yard up, and we were rostered each time to do it up.
Oh, I think that we enjoyed coming to school. We lived only just round the corner in Newcastle Street, and we'd come round the lane and we were here in no time, and we always went home for lunch.
The fire is the one big thing that I remembered.
October 67, I think it was. We had Education Day. Everybody was up here, all the displays. It was absolutely gorgeous on Education Day. And then on the next morning, we all came up in the fog, and here was the school pretty well disappeared, burnt down. The fireman at the time said that it had started in the cavity wall on one side of the school where the painters had been burning off the eaves. But because of court cases, of course, that had to be scotched very quickly, because people didn't want to be charged with the loss. Every teacher lost all their teaching equipment, and in those days every teacher had to supply every piece of their teaching equipment. Nothing was supplied by the school for teachers. There were books and things supplied for the children by the mothers' clubs, but and the insurance of the education department didn't cover any teachers' belongings that were at the school, so you lost everything. All the children's equipment was burnt. We started off, the place was bleak with all these black walls, and grades 5 and 6 were sent off to Spotswood School and Williamstown.